Well, hello again, gamers. This is Ryan Hale with another character creation, this time with the Pathfinder role-playing game using their beginner box, as you can see right there. And I've just got to say, I love that artwork there on the box. Absolutely thrilled with this product from Paizo and the whole Pathfinder system. So, let's dive right in. If you haven't already, please check out my box breaking for the Pathfinder beginner box. But today we're going to focus just on character creation here using the Pathfinder's Hero's Handbook. Today we're going to go through the whole process, starting with a blank sheet. Take it from the top. Here we go. Here is one of their blank, clean character sheets. Let me zoom back out here for a second so that you can see the whole shebang, as it were. There we go. Take a look at that. That is just filled with goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, there's tons of information that you can put on there, and I'm sure if you are a total noob to role-playing games, something like this can look pretty intimidating with all of these boxes and all of these lines. But the Pathfinder beginner box and their whole system makes it as simple as possible. I mean, you can see from right here that there are these A, B, C, D letters that take you through step by step that correlates exactly with what's in the book. If we didn't have such glare, there we go. You see letter D for skills, but we need to go all the way back to step number 1A. In terms of creating a character, the first thing you do is choose your race. Now, with the beginner box, you do get a slightly limited selection. It's just dwarf, elf, or human. I'm sure the Pathfinder other supplements have more races that you can choose from, but for the sake of keeping things simple and keeping things light, the whole Hero's Handbook for the beginner box is 64 pages, so they just keep you down to 3 races to choose from, but really most of the other races are usually variations on these 3 themes. Dwarves are tough and hardy, elves are fast and agile, humans are skilled and versatile, so take your pick and go with it. Today, for this character creation, I'm going to be doing everything absolutely at random. So I'm just going to find a dice that fits and go with it. So for our 3 races, dwarf, elf, or human, I'm going to roll a d6, 1 and 2 for dwarf, 3 and 4 for elf, 5 and 6 for human. Let's see what we get. And there it is. Maybe you want me to roll again. Oh, but it keeps going off camera. I cannot just land it right in the box. Bingo. 3 again. Elf. Awesome. Okay, so there we go. We've chosen our race. The next step is class. Class is really what defines a character the most. It determines what your abilities, skills, your job, your role, your purpose in the world, so to speak. Here, again, somewhat limited, 4 classes to choose from. Cleric, which is your healer, divine magic, undead, and demon killer. Your fighter, generally your tank, the one who wades into the middle of the combat and takes the hits to protect his fellows and dishes out a good deal of damage as well. The rogue, your skill monkey, the sneak, the spy, usually good at disabling traps and dishing out some decent damage as well. And the wizard, magical problem solver, lots of big damaging spells and other things that help you get out of sticky situations. So again, I'm going to take this at random. I'm sure as you look at the pictures, they've got an elf there in the rogue. It looks like mostly human for the other 3 picks, but again, we're doing this at random. This time we'll use the 4-sided dice. Unfortunately, the camera can't quite capture that, but Uno! Rolled a 1. There it is. 1. That'll get us the cleric. So, I'm an elf cleric. That's probably going to be slightly more difficult to build, knowing a little bit about the bonuses and abilities and that, but you know what? I like a challenge. So, jump back up here to the character sheet. Bring it in here, and there we have it. Race and class. And here they have the pictures that correlate exactly to what is in the hero's guide itself. So makes life really easy if you were just starting out, first time player with this system or any role-playing game, as a matter of fact. So I'm a good old elf cleric, just starting out in the world. No XP really, level 1. Alright. The next thing to figure out are the ability scores. Here it is. So here, roll 46 and take the top 3 out of that. So let's take it away. Friend Matt was nice enough to provide his extra fun, super awesome dice from ChessX. Gotta absolutely love those folks there. Those are just gorgeous. I should probably ask Matt to roll for me since he tends to get nothing but tops. But we'll take it as we go. Oh, look at that. 5561 for my first time out. All right. So you just take those top 3. That's a 16 for me. Woohoo.
Well, they are for a cleric. They're blessed.
Yes, indeed. Maybe at our next convention we can get somebody to bless these. One of the Paizo guys.
3, 2, 5, and 3.
Oh no, he's wrong.
I am wrong, but
He tried to call it on this one. 3 4s and a 1, so that's a 12. Do this a few more times. Ooh, couple more 6s in there. 6 6 3 1, so that's 14 again.
that's 15.
15. Hey, I can do math. I are goods at the maths. This is why everybody loves it when I'm the GM, because I can't count for crap. And usually I roll pretty horrible too. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Yeah, 9. I mean, that's still within the average range. Okay, here we go. 5, 3, 1, 1. Another 9. All right. So my elf cleric wasn't even at the top of his class, really. Ooh, 5, 3, 2, 2. That's a 10. Ouch. You know what? This is something that I do for my players, so I'm going to do it for me right now. If they have a lot of low scores, I'll give them 1 reroll. So one of those 9s hopefully is going to improve, unless I roll utter crap again. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, bumped a 9 up to an 11. So, not bad at all. Adjust. Ooh. Each class, they have their recommended stats as to what to put your best ones in. Cleric says Wisdom, and second best in Constitution or Charisma. Great. Elves get a bonus to Dex and Intelligence, but take a hit in Constitution. So that's going to make some nice decision times. Oh, and they have here a nice little thing in the book about, hey, if you got some bad rolls. If your highest ability is a 13 or lower, you can re-roll them all, or just go back. Okay, well, we did get a few that were 13 or above, so I would say my guy is pretty good right there. Just need to figure out which ones go where. Let's see, Cleric best goes to Wisdom, so that's going to be my 16 right there. Second best in either Con or Charisma. I'm thinking this is going to have to be a Charisma-based Cleric, since he's going to take a hit in Constitution anyway. So I'm going to put my 15 in Charisma. I'm going to put my third best score in Con, which is a 12, which subtract 2 is going to bump that down to a 10. That might end up biting me in the rear end later on, but you know, we don't all need to be min-maxers. Hopefully your DM isn't an absolute killer, and they like to have fun, and would rather play a role than just roll the dice all the time. So, take that as you will. Strength, I'm going to leave that at the 11, which leaves Dexterity and Intelligence, which are the two most worthless stats for a cleric, and yet are the two that my particular elf gets a bonus in. So add 2 to each of those. Let's take the 10 for Dex. Put it as a 12 there. And the 9 in Intelligence will bump up to an 11. I'm sure, you know, people who are a lot more savvy with the Pathfinder system will be filling our forums and comments with, "Oh my gosh, you did it wrong." I don't care. I will enjoy anyway. Next step, 5-B, is figuring out your ability modifiers. If your ability score is this, then your modifier is that, plus or minus. So that should be pretty easy to determine here. We'll just line the two things up. They don't quite fit on the camera anyway, so never mind. Let's see. 10s and 11s are nothing but a 0. 12 is a +1. 16 is a +3. And my 15, is only a +2. You know what? I like it. Works for me. Works for me very well. Alright. Choose an alignment is next. I'm an elf and I'm a cleric. I'm probably on the good guy side. Question is, do I want to be chaotic good? Or neutral good or lawful good? I don't like playing lawful good. They tend to turn out lawful stupid. Unless, of course, you have a really interesting law code. As an elf, I could be an extreme tree hugger, and would be willing to dispense violence on anybody who takes after nature. I know a lot of people like to play their druids neutral good, so an elf cleric might end up being played a little bit more druidic. So neutral good would fit there, but you know what? I have a bend towards the chaotic good right now, so that's what I'm going with. I'm taking my alignment, there it is, as chaotic good, so I'll just put the CG there. Alignment, some people get really uptight. Oh, you played outside your alignment. Others are a little bit loose and free with it. I tend to use it as a guideline and encourage players to play within it. Know that, there are some times when we all break our codes, so once in a while it's okay to go without that, but if you're consistently going outside of it, then yes, I as a DM, I like to give my players some kind of penalty or force them to change alignments and undergo something like that. Gender, we haven't figured that one out. I'm a guy, so I tend to play guy characters, but today we'll go random. And, oh wait, we didn't call that first. Even male, odd female?
Sure.
Okay, there, we'll do it again. Oh, even male. So, okay, so a male elf cleric, chaotic good alignment, level 1, with those as the stats.
Obviously not a drow.
Not a drow. No.
Obviously not.
No.
All the clerics are female.
Oh yeah, there's that. Well, maybe he's a convert. He was
probably no longer be a cleric.
No, that's true.
Okay. I suppose there's exceptions to the rule since there's that one story about the albino.
Right. Yeah, the albino drow.
It was also good.
Something like that. Let's see. Choose a name. A name for an elf cleric right now, off the top of my head. Thalen. Thaelin.
Aelin.
Aelyn. Because, you know, it's got to have a Y. That makes... All right, Phelan. That sounds pretty good. The next pages detail the particulars of the race, what their racial traits are and racial other abilities. So there's a nice little box for all of that stuff right there on the sheet. So if I'm an elf, speed is 30 feet, or 6 squares if you're using their awesome grid system for their maps. A few other traits: low light vision, immune to sleep, some good senses. +2, miscellaneous for perception. Great. And I already know how to use longbows, long swords, rapiers, short bows, no matter what my class is. So I get a few extra weapons. If my class doesn't already give them to me, I happen to know them because, well, I just grew up as an elf, and you just learn that stuff. It's like, you know, you go to first grade and it's longbow class instead of, you know, learning to color. So, awesome sauce. Get to fill all that stuff in right now. 30 feet or 6 squares. Low light vision. Sleep immunity. Keen senses. I'll put that in here just for kicks. And weapon familiarity, just to list them as they are. The keen senses actually comes in down here in perception. Gets a miscellaneous modifier right there of +2, thanks to just being elven. I have sharp eyes, and those long pointy ears better be useful for something. Not just decoration, folks. So, what is next? What is next? The class information. Here we go. We start off with Cleric. That's the first one alphabetically, so get to add all of this special stuff in. First up, our defense bonus area, that sort of thing. Basic class info under section F. There it is, section F. Fortitude save for my class, I get a +2. Reflex is 0. Apparently, clerics aren't too spry, but do get a nice will save of +2 as well. So, excellent. Hit points start at 8. May get modified as we go. Attack bonus is 0. And skill ranks of 2. We'll figure out what that all means in a little bit. Now, see, it does go from section F to section D, but, hey, who am I to complain? All right, at least it is clearly labeled for all of us right here. So here we go to the skill section. Skills are actually pretty robust. Anyhow, what you have here in your skills are what are your class skills, and you just need to put an X and mark those in as you go down. So a cleric could be trained in diplomacy, heal, makes sense, knowledge arcana, or arcana, depending on your pronunciation, history, religion, obviously, sense motive, and spellcraft. So, it looks like clerics are a bit of the diplomat, could be the spokesman for the group, to get you out of trouble with the local nobles and whatnot, with their diplomacy, sense motive, determine who's doing what, and of course the various knowledge skills. They spent some time training in seminary, doing some book learnings, and that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. Up next, armor and spells. Get to check off what I have down there, below the skill section. There we go. You can see those there. Here we go. Clerics, they are proficient with shields. Light armor, medium armor, and simple weapons. But also remember that because we selected, or I rolled randomly, an elf, I get those bonus... Whoops, that's human. There we go. Those bonus weapons right there. Longbow, longsword, etc. So I can probably, looks like, have the room right here in these boxes to write that stuff in. And I will. Longbow. Yes. And short bow. Okay, so get a few extra weapons to mix in there. Makes me a slightly not typical cleric. I like that. I like playing things that are a little bit off the norm or off the beaten path. I can just pick my spells each day. Don't need to worry about that too much. Clerics have a very special ability that will go in section F called Channel Energy 1d6. Woohoo! A blast of divine power through your holy symbol, and can smack people around a number of times per day equal to 3 plus my charisma modifier. Very good. Glad I took that charisma bonus. And can use it to heal the living or to damage undead creatures. So maybe my elf's homelands had been overrun and invaded by undead, and so he's a little bit more don't like the undead. Want to keep nature pure, get those foul undead things out of there. So that is some cool stuff right there. I could put that in my class features section right in here. So some channel energy 1d6. Great. Next, whoa, hello Blair. We get to choose our god, and being an elf, if I had the choice between the naked butterfly and the crazy armor guy, yeah, I'm going with the butterfly. Goddess of travelers, stars, and luck. I like that. Strength in battle. I'm going. I like Desna right there. There's another choice on the next page. Sarenrae, goddess of sun and healing. Well, that could be pretty good for an elf as well. Scimitar, rebuke death, sun's blessing, like that. Desna's special weapon, a star knife. For both melee and ranged attacks. Agile feat, bit of luck. I'm going with this. Again, we're gonna go a little bit unique. If I was a min-maxer, I'd probably go with Senrei. That and I can see that very much fitting with my concept so far. But since I went with the chaotic good alignment, Desna's speaking to that part of this character's build so far. So I'm going to go with Desna as my deity. So that gives me agile feat. And bit of luck. And when I learn how to write and spell, you guys will be appreciative of that. Agile feats. For one round, I can move through obstacles that might slow me down. Great. Hey, somebody needs the medic now, I can get there. Or, more importantly, run away. Bit of luck. Use it a few times a day. touch an ally or myself. For the next round, anytime that an ally rolls a d20, they can roll twice and take the better of the two. Cool. So, nice little bonus attack buff or skill buff for any of my pals. Excellent. Alright, well, let's skip all the other spells that we don't need to worry about. The next thing on the sheet here are the weapons and attacks. So I'm going to take a couple of moments to look over those. Alright, I'm back. I've made all of my weapon and armor selections. For weapons, I went ahead and took my Deity weapon, which is the Star Knife. See if we can get the picture of that right here without any glare. There you go. Star Knife, kind of a hand in the middle. Throw it like a giant ninja star or use it like a four-ended dagger. Okay, just try not to poke yourself with it, alright? All your statistical information is right there. Melee or thrown, it's a light weapon. Piercing damage, only a d4, but the crit is ×3, so if you happen to roll a natural 20, you can triple whatever damage you got, and range of 20 feet, so you get to add all of that in right here. So that'll be probably my primary weapon. Is the Star Knife, his signature weapon. Damage, like I said, is 1d4. Critical threat is 20 and ×3. The damage type is piercing, so probably a P is enough there. Range increment 20. I only have one of them. They cost 24 gold a pop, so we'll stick with that. Weapon bonus. For my armor class, you can see that right here. I went with scale mail, so that's going to slow me down maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but it does give me a +5 armor bonus. I also picked up a light shield for an extra 1. So there you go. Probably don't get my dex mod or no magic bonus at this point, so right now armor class is sitting at 16. If I'm wrong about those things, we can go back and fix them later, but if I was a spry character or using light armor, then I might get to put my +1 right there. The best light armor that I see on the page is a chain shirt at +4, but it costs 100 gold, so at the end of the day it's going to end up the same, so I'll just stick with the scale for a slightly cheaper amount. The next thing you get to choose are feats. Every character gets a certain number. I knew they were around here somewhere. Alright, here we go. Feats. Starting feats. First level, you get 1. If you're human, you can get an extra. Another feat at 3rd and 5th. So each feat is laid out in these nice little stat blocks, so you can pretty easily determine what it is that you want, that you think you need. I like this one right here, improved channel. Use my channel energy ability. Increase the saving throw for the undead critters, so it makes, it doesn't really affect the way I use it against to heal my friends, but can really damage the bad guys a little bit more. So I kind of like that. See if there's anything else good on the next page. Nimble moves. Lets me get around some things. Martial weapon proficiency, so I can pick up some more weapons, but I really don't need that at this stage in the game. There it is. There's the one I was looking at. Weapon finesse. Make a melee attack with a light weapon. Rapier, use your dex instead of your strength mod on the attack roll. So this feat would give me essentially a +1 bonus or an increased hit rate of about 5%. That's pretty good. That you can't turn your nose up at that. Even a +1 may not look like a whole lot at the beginning, but golly, that can come in pretty handy. And can't really deny toughness either. You'll notice with the feats that there are pictures beside them showing you which class can take that feat. Isn't that interesting? So, whoops, weapon finesse. I may not be able to take that because it may not be available. Prerequisites. Well, we'll look at that later. So, okay, let's definitely, play it on the safe side for this and go with the improved channel. Increase the DC by +2 against undead. So we'll write that in right here. Improved channel. Isn't that great? Okay. And before I forget, we did do the weapons and armors, but I also selected a few other pieces of equipment. Here, my adventurer's kit. I picked up a silver holy symbol. A wooden one would certainly be fine and work well with the theme of this character. But I've known GMs that are really crafty. If you're trying to squeak the rules a little bit and save some money and you go for the cheaper holy symbol, well, it can end up broken. And then you can't use your really cool divinity powers. So went ahead and upgraded to the silver and spent the cash. And got some candles because, what elf doesn't need a little mood lighting now and then? As a cleric, I got to start with 140 gold. All said and done, I spent 135.9. So that gives me, 135.1. So I have 9 silver and 4 gold points left. So I can almost afford a meal, maybe a nice mug of ale. Hard to tell. The last thing that's really left to do is to figure out now the skill numbers. We figured out what the class skills were, and I know that I have 2 skill ranks to spend. Now we just need to figure out what that means and how it works. When done with skills, come back to this page. So, here we go. There's the skills. Put 1 rank into each skill you want until you run out of ranks. Well, isn't that great? So I have a whole 2. For every skill you have a rank, add the numbers, put the total in the box. There we go. So, I have a whole 2 ranks. What should I pick? I'm definitely going to go with heal, as that is usually the cleric's number 1 role, is keeping the party healthy. Beyond that, 1 more to stretch out. Depending on who's in the group, I like to try to fill out what else could work, but knowledge religion seems like a good one for me. Beyond that, just get to add in my totals and my modifiers. Everything that has a dex mod gets a 1. Everything that has a charisma mod gets a 2. Everything that has a strength mod gets a 0. Charisma's a 2, a 1. And everything that has a wisdom mod gets a 3. My intelligence and con are also nil. So, all the way down. 3. 3. 1 and 0. Awesome. So there you have it. Here we go. For those that I put a rank in skill, I only have 2 skill ranks, so I can only put 2 1s down. But if it happens to be a class skill, you get an additional 3. So that's going to be turn out to be a 4 on the heal and a 4 on the religion. So my heal 4 plus my ability score modifier from wisdom is a 3, gives me a total of 7. Religion, I don't have an intelligence modifier, so only a 4. Apparently I didn't pay too close attention in my theology classes. My perception, however, is a 5, because 3 from wisdom and 2 from the race of elf, so I can spot things pretty well. And that kind of gives you a sense of what they are. For the rest, in your total box would be equal to just what your ability modifier is. And so I would just write that all the way down the line right here. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 0. So, not exactly the smartest cookie. Maybe I'll take a look again at that at my ability scores and maybe flop some here in the intelligence, dex, constitution section. Maybe put that 12 down in intelligence and put the 11 in constitution and 10 then in dexterity, just to give myself a little bit of a bonus on the skills. But you know, c'est la vie. That's just another way you can decide to do those sorts of things. All that's left are my other bonuses right here on weapons and attacks. Initiative, hey, I at least get a 1. Ranged attacks, also get a +1. So, but melee attacks, no strength bonus, and no attack bonus from my class. Clerics are not your weapon masters. We'll leave that to the fighters and probably rogues. So, not always going to be the best, but I make up for it with that nice channel energy power. And when I took the feat for improved channel to increase the difficulty on that. So, yeah, that gives me some nice combat option right there. So there it is. Nice support character, I think. Talon, the male elf cleric. Chaotic good alignment, so maybe has an actual sense of humor for a cleric. We'll find out. Tends to rely on luck and skill and speed more than anything else. Pray a lot to his goddess to get him out of trouble and keep his party healthy. So, this has been Ryan with another character creation, this time with the Paizo Systems Pathfinder game. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And if you want to argue about my choices, please leave comments here on the page. Until then, this is Ryan from Through Gamer Goggles. Catch you later.